and welcome again to Just One Question. This is Nilakshi Sengupta, and I have with me the super talented artist and an extremely straightforward human being, Dolly Thakur. Hi Dolly, I remember you had once told me about the amazing experience you have had in Pakistan as a guest there, and about the theatre that you saw there. Would you like to share that with our listeners here?
Let me tell you that in 2004, there was a cricket match. That was, I think, the first time that India-Pakistan were playing. It was in Lahore. And I was also invited. I think they were taking a whole plane load of Indians, and I was one of them that was invited. But I had made it quite clear that if I was going to Lahore, which was Pakistan, I was born in Pakistan. I was born in Kohat, which is Peshawar. And I had said that I'd never been to Pakistan. I'd never even thought that I would ever go to Pakistan. So having got this opportunity, I said, look, if I go to Pakistan, I want to go to all four places. I want to see Karachi, I want to see Kohat mostly. And Kohat, the closest place from there is Islamabad. But they sent me my visa, etc. back, only stand for Lahore.
Okay. Was it difficult to get all the visas then?
We were doing, I can't remember whether it was Vagina Monologue or something, but I happened to be in Delhi. I went to a Mehdi Hassan concert at the Ashoka Hotel, and I met the Pakistan High Commissioner. And I said, my name is so-and-so, and I've been invited, and I want a passport, but I want it for all four places, because I know that the Pakistanis coming to India and the Indians going there, you can only visit the place that is marked on your passport. So I said, no, I want to go to all four places.
Okay.
He said, no, send in your passport. So the next morning, I took my passport, I arrived at the Pakistani High Commission, and I went in, and the immigration officer said, why do you want to go to Kohat? I said, because I was born there. He said, so was I. And he promptly took my passport and stamped it for all the four places. And I had the most wonderful, wonderful 2 weeks that I spent in Pakistan, in Karachi, in Kohat. And Kohat has a particularly interesting story, because I was 1 month old when my father left Kohat. But I'd heard of Kohat, and my passport says undivided India at the time when I was born and things. And so the lady that I was staying with, and in Islamabad, the people that I knew didn't own flats and buildings, they owned hills. And the hill I stayed on, and the next hill was Imran Khan. But I never saw him or met him. It was just feeling very happy that he was breathing the same air that I was.
Okay.
And because Nikhat, the girl that I stayed with, had come with Eve Ensler in 2004 to Bombay, because they had performed in Vagina Monologue in Pakistan. But of course there they didn't perform it in a theatre because they were not allowed, but they did it in somebody's house. And apparently it was jam-packed, because people were climbing trees to look in and listen to all that. But they spent 3 days here with us, and we got on very well with the girls. And they said, look, if you all ever come to Pakistan, please come and visit us. And so here was the opportunity a few months later, and I'd written to her that I would be coming. Then when I told people I wanted to go to Kohat, especially that I'd only come to Pakistan to go to Kohat, nobody seemed to have a contact in Pakistan. Then one journalist said, I will try and see what we can do. And he contacted somebody. And Nikhat, who was in Islamabad, and I was going to stay with her. And Kohat is about a 10-hour drive from Islamabad. And she came back, she said, Dolly, there's nobody we can find who knows Islamabad, who knows Kohat. But my driver comes from Kohat. I said, wonderful. I sat in the car, I drove off with the driver. And I had the most wonderful 10 hours with the driver, driving there, and then 10 hours coming back. And you know, like we have Kala Ghoda over here, in Kohat, as you entered Kohat, there was this big black horse and a huge tribal on the horse. And he said, Madam, I mean, he didn't say Madam, he spoke in Urdu, and ye sabse bada chief tha yahan ka, a tribal chief, but many years ago. So I said, oh, and he gave me the name, Hussain Quli Khan. And then I gave him the address as to where I was going. And it turned out that I was staying with the grandson. He happened to be the grandson. So you know how exciting the stories kind of all fell in place. When I got to the house, my host said, Dolly, you're here for such a short time, and before the sun goes down, so let me take you to the highest point from where you can see all of Kohat. So he took me to one of these municipal water tanks or something. We climbed up there, and I looked down. Mobiles had just come to India, and especially Bombay, and I had a small little Nokia in those days. And I rang my father on that Nokia, and I got through. And I said, Dad, guess where I am? This is 2004 April. And I said, I'm in Kohat. And he said, Beta, if you look down, you will see an abandoned airfield. Now this is, 50 years later or 40 something years later. And I said, yes. And he says, next to that, there is a church. And next to that, there is a sarai. And you were born in that sarai. It was amazing. And I visited the sarai. My host then took me there. And, it still gives me a very happy memory that I was able to share this with my father. My mother was already gone, but my father was there. And of course, he died 5 months later.
What a beautiful memory, Dolly. You must have made your father very happy.
I have lovely memories of that place, Whatever the government and whatever the people are saying here, they are like us. They are warm, they are hospitable, they are generous. It's wonderful.
It is indeed a wonderful memory, Dolly. But now I want to know, did you meet any actors in Pakistan? Did you see any plays there, I mean? Were live performances happening there?
So Musharraf had allowed plays for the first time. For the first time after so many years, a play came to Lahore, and I happened to be in Lahore. And I said, look, I have to go and see this play. And my hosts, everybody in Lahore and kind of people that I knew were going to see this play. It was only on for one night. And they were going to take me. So I went. And of course, they were going to make me sit at the back. And I'm not used to sitting in the back. For me, theatre means first or second row. So but it was jam-packed in a theatre for about 300 people. There were about 500 or 600 people crammed in there, sitting on the stairs, on top of each other. And I marched down the stairs, crushing people's hands and legs and everything, and got right to the front. And I saw that play. And there again, there was I, Dolly Thakur, in the third row of the theatre. And I saw this wonderful play, and the people were just so hospitable and loved it and loved my being there. So that was my connection with Pakistan, and I'm very good friends with all the people that were there, and I had the most marvelous time.
Dolly, this is such an amazing story. I'm sure our listeners will love and appreciate the camaraderie and bonds of friendship that artists create across countries. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And that was Dolly Thakur with the story of her first travel to Pakistan in search of her birthplace. There's a lot more to come. Many stories, many experiences, many magical nostalgic moments. Do tune in again. This is Neelakshi Sengupta bringing you Just One Question.